Well, I have a question which I sent to Lynn yesterday, thinking that it was a personal question. But she said to ask it today and see if she can troubleshoot anything. I have a phone, it's a Samsung. It's I think a somewhat older model. It's a track phone, and they get their phones, I think, from discontinued or overruns or whatever, and turn them into track phones. And I noticed this summer, I tend to keep the volume off because I'm in and out of areas and situations where I do need to turn it off. So it's just easier to have it off. But I keep it in my pocket, or I put it on a hard surface so that I can either feel or hear the vibration. And this summer I was missing a lot of calls and a lot of texts, and realized that Bob's in agreement. And realized that I don't even feel the vibration if the phone's in my pocket. Always, occasionally I do, but not very often. And it used to put it on the desk and it used to rumble on a hard surface, and it doesn't do that. So I've been exploring new phone, and I was asking her about the viability of one that I'm zeroing in on, and she said, bring it to tech time.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Steven when we need him?
Yeah, right.
Did you
Thoughtless.
I think he said he had a doctor's appointment this morning.
Bummer.
But did you try going in the sound settings, Jean, to look and see if it was up all the way? There was some weird thing that didn't get bumped.
Well, the volume on ringtone, I think I turned down because I had to have it, or that's the volume for the ringtone all the way up. But I just said it's annoying, even to Bob, probably, if I have it all the way up and can hear it. I don't understand what media is.
Media is something that we've discovered is needed for our AV volunteers at the church. So it's the volume controls if you're watching like a YouTube video.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
So stop. Notifications, that's nearly all the way up. That's a knock. That's all the way up. But I seldom hear that. And system, I'm not sure what system is either. I haven't figured that one out.
Guessing the system is the phone in general, which
Okay.
I would think would be like calls and like the vibration. I could be wrong.
But I used to, if I got a call, it would, it buzz and it buzz and it buzz until it went into, if I couldn't reach it, it would go into voicemail. If I get a text, I would get a buzz. I'm not sure which one of the sounds controls the sound of a text. But
notification, isn't that notification on mine, I think.
yeah, and I have that up fairly high, but since I don't really use the sound much for anything, I rely on the vibrations.
So apparently there's different customizations of vibrations according to this website. I don't know how accurate that is versus the reality. So maybe you get
or the age
of the phone.
It's a Samsung Galaxy J2.
So vibrate settings icon, taps and vibrations. Was there a vibrate section?
Not under volume. Oh, vibration pattern. that would just be for the ringtone for the vibration.
That might be different ways of it vibrating. I mean, we could try.
Yeah,
call.
I can get the basic call, heartbeat, tick-tock.
Have you tried a variety of them?
I mean, we could call you and you could try out each and every one of them. And
'Cause
see if
maybe
one
there's just
stronger
one
than-
of them that's defective and there's other ones that are working.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
Mhm.
I mean, it's worth trying at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
Or she could spring for a new phone.
How old is this phone?
well, I got it in 2018 and it's a Samsung Galaxy J2. So I don't know what year that was.
5 years. So
It has 1 gigabyte memory and the one I'm looking at has 64. It's
it would definitely be a nice upgrade for you.
Mhm.
And it will probably give you less headaches.
yeah.
And your
So the-
husband is
I-
nodding yes.
Pardon?
And your husband is nodding yes.
And it's an Apple, and I like the Apple iPad better
Mhm.
than I like my phone.
Mhm.
The nice thing is you're familiar with the layout. If you know, if you're familiar with the layout of it, say on the iPad, you're not going to have to relearn anything.
Pretty much, and I can just, there's some way I can put this or put the iPad right up against the new phone and everything would transfer, including contacts. The
Yep.
nice thing about this is that Bob has a slightly newer model of the same phone as what I have.
Oh,
So
the
that when we run into problems, we can help each other.
Looks like a phone.
We all holding up our phones here?
Android Intel. But yes, you're going to get a lot more battery life if you upgrade to the iPhone SE, and video wise.
So if I have pictures that I want to save
On the Samsung,
from the phone, do I have on the Samsung? Should I email them to my laptop to save them? Because once I change phones, they would not be
correct,
accessible, would they?
correct.
Mhm.
So does your Samsung, some Samsungs sync all their photos to Google Photos, or is it a Samsung specific Photos app? Does that make
No.
sense?
No, because I guess it's an app that was on the phone when it came. It's Gallery.
Gallery. Yeah, so that's Samsung, so it's not syncing to the cloud with Google.
And I've never really gotten into, partly time, partly just being chicken, gotten into using the cloud. And I don't sync anything just because if there's a problem with one, I don't want it affecting another one.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah.
chicken maybe.
There are definitely some pros and cons to it, like anything, but it looks like there's a way you can export it. It looks like you can transfer them, different options, File Explorer. Yeah, I think that it can be done.
Okay,
Yes,
and I
it
don't have File Explorer.
That's on your PC
Oh, that I have.
that you have. Yes. So yeah, I'm Googling because I'm.
I can see your eyes.
Your eyes are going back and forth. We know she's on the computer.
Keep
And you're
in
not
touch.
looking at the camera, you're looking down.
Yes, I'm looking at Google. But yeah, it looks like we can transfer photos to a USB.
From
Hmm,
my
and-
phone,
Yes.
how do I attach USB to my phone?
Connect your smartphone to your computer with a USB cable. So I don't know if your charger had one end is a USB and you can plug it into your computer.
If not, you can
Um,
buy them. They're available.
Oh,
I
oh,
might,
yeah, I
if
do. One end is like a lightning size and the other end is,
USB.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So take that USB portion out of the charger in the wall and
Yeah.
plug it into your laptop.
Okay. Let me write this
And then
down.
I can send you this link too.
Okay.
Wow,
And then
extra charge.
Yeah. Small fee, Bob.
and then it will ask if you want to accept, you want your phone data on your computer. And then you just follow the instructions, and then there's tap for other USB options and things. And then you can transfer files from Android.
Oh, well, that'd be a lot easier than emailing them, which takes a
Exactly.
million hours because phone is slow. I
Exactly.
usually do 5 at a time and it takes a minute or two.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can try this. And if you have issues, we can play with it.
It sounds like you're all voting for Jean to get a new phone.
Yes.
At least you are.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Why don't you give it to her for a birthday present? Christmas
There you
present?
go.
Oh, the birthday was, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
have
have
to
to wait. I have
Belated.
to wait 11 months and 2 weeks to get a birthday present.
Well,
No,
it's always
belated
Christmas.
present. What the heck?
Early
Come on,
Christmas,
Bob.
your late birthday.
Yeah.
Anniversary.
Or I could give
How
it to
about
her
a
for,
Columbus Day? Columbus Day is
Hashanah.
next week.
Right, for Rosh Hashanah.
You're even late for that.
Yom Kippur is coming up.
Comes before, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have a related question, and would the same thing work from an iPhone to an iPad? Because
Mhm.
remember when I took my pictures out of my old Mac and put them in my computer, it wiped out the sync from my phone.
Yeah, which I never understood.
Yeah, well, and I've never called Apple because I've just been too busy doing too many millions of other things. But that wouldn't help, that wouldn't get them to sync all the time. It would just take the ones out, the 6,000 out and put them into my computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be worth trying. It doesn't hurt anything to try it at least. You
Goodness.
laugh at me.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
laugh at me.
Well, and the other question was, I've gone to the iCloud to try and sync, but I've always gone from the computer. And maybe I should go to the iCloud on the phone and see if it will sync from the phone to the computer. as
It's going to
opposed-
be easier to sync from the phone to the computer.
Right. And it should be syncing, but it's not.
So, Jean, one of the perks about switching to an iPhone is that all the clouds will automatically be put up in the cloud. So
All the
you would never need to try to move them over to a computer again. You can just view them on your computer magically.
And there are free clouds and pay clouds. You have
Yeah.
certain amount of data you can put up.
Correct.
'Cause we
So,
haven't-
Go ahead.
We have an old desktop of Bob's, and when they transferred data over to the new one, they didn't transfer any of the photos.
Mhm.
And trying to decide whether to go to the problem of hooking it up and going on to Geek Squad. They say they can do it over the phone, or whether you should just move them into the cloud, but we probably have so many. We'd have to go into a pay format.
Mhm.
Not sure how much we want the photos. But that's for us to decide.
Yeah.
I do have,
You could
I do have a question. Going back to my phone, you put a link on the chat. And
Mhm.
so do I just, after we finish this, I'll just click on that and it'll open up a website on my phone
You have to open it up while we're talking. Otherwise,
while
you'll-
we're talking.
isn't that right,
Oh,
Lynn?
Once this meeting is over, it's going to lose those links,
Right.
but
Okay.
I can send them to you separately too.
I can open it now.
If if you click on them now,
Yeah.
it will open it in a browser, and then
Uh-huh.
you can click the Zoom icon and come back to us.
And there are two,
I
Two
put the
links there
second
now.
one, which is the vibration link,
okay.
which maybe you've done everything on it, and that's about all we can do.
Okay, well, here I go.
You won't lose us. We'll see you whether you
I
see
can
it.
still hear you.
But yeah, if at the bottom of your screen, it should have the Zoom icon, and you can click
Yep.
on that. But
Ah, okay,
a bunch
I
of
got them
us,
both.
a bunch of us on here, I know, do the 99 cent cloud storage with Apple. It's 50 gigs for 99 cents month.
A month.
It's not bad.
It's what, 50 gigs,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's 99 cents a month.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's enough to do backups of your phone. So if you get malware on it and need to restore from a backup, you can, and photos as well.
okay,
But if you take photos on your iPad, it will automatically sync them there as with your phone. So you have access to them on every device.
okay.
That's
What's
what
the,
you're
if it
probably
goes above 50 gigs, then what's the next?
$2.99, I think, is the next one. Which I recently upgraded to because my iPad backups were so much. And that's 200 gigabytes.
I would never probably even go above the 50, but pictures take a lot of space, don't they?
Yeah, and I have more photos than you do.
I bet you do.
I think.
Gene, I don't want to discuss personal things with the group, but if we're going to shell out for a new phone, I don't know if we can afford the 99 cents a month.
We can all contribute.
As I got older, I used to laugh and accuse my mother of being cheap, but I was just economical.
I see.
I mean, she used to save plastic wrap. She'd wipe it off and put it on the refrigerator to dry. I don't go that far, but I have a lot of her Scot blood in me.
I was gonna say, Bill just says you're being Scottish. But you know, it's not fair because Scots are very thrifty. They're not cheap. They're
That's
very,
right.
very generous people. But they don't waste their money on stupid things.
Mhm.
I like that better than economical. Wish
Yeah.
my mother were around to hear that.
Well,
My grandma's that same way, but she's a Great Depression baby, so
Mhm.
it's
I
that
had,
built into her as
Yeah.
a child.
and
But
it stays
define-
with you. It can stay with you as part of your own
Mhm.
makeup.
Mhm.
But define stupid things. Your stupid thing, that'd be my treasure.
Well, they'll give you the shirt off their back, but they're not gonna spend $5 for something that they can get for $3 at a different store.
Or they're going to wear something until, you know, it's
Yes,
completely in holes,
Case
right?
in point, I'm wearing 25-year-old t-shirts because they're still perfectly good.
And I still darn socks.
Oh, I haven't gone that far.
I do too.
Good for you.
Hey, for
Way
a
to
long
go,
time, I
Karen.
turned Bill's collars on his white shirts. Did you ever do that, Jean?
What was that?
I turned the collars on Bill's dress shirts. For a
My
long
mother
time.
used to
I
do
would
that.
Oh,
take
I
the
tried it
collar out
once.
And flip it around and sew it back on. Of course, that's
Yeah,
when we
it-
were interns and stuff, but.
My
Yeah.
mother used to do that. Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Well, I've started using
Those-
OxyClean now. And that really lengthens the whiteness of necks or.
Oh, it
other-
wasn't the whiteness, it was the worn outness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
When there
yeah,
was a
well,
hole
mine
there.
looked like I had turned it, but the
Yeah.
things that I used to throw away because they were so discolored on the neck, I now
Yeah.
can keep looking crystal white.
Mhm. Do you guys have a trick for t-shirts? For whatever reason, I get little holes on the front of my shirts. They're like by the belt. I wonder if like the belt's rubbing up against it or anything.
I
okay.
But
don't
I'm
wear
like,
a
it's a
belt, but I
perfect
get the
thing.
same thing.
Oh, you get it without the belt?
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't want, it's just little teeny holes. I don't want to throw away the shirt.
Yeah.
What's-
Yeah, it's only happened once to me.
Oh, it's
Hmm.
it's on most every shirt I have more than a couple years old.
Yeah, I've been noticing that, Lynn.
On my shirts or your shirts?
Yours. I didn't want to say, but
I have a question about the cloud.
Yeah.
Does it have holes in it? No. No, all right, my laptop and my cell phone back up to the cloud. Okay, but how do I access the cloud? If I
Mhm.
wanted to see something in there that was, or can I, like, if something's in the cloud with my phone, can I access it on my laptop? It's all one big cloud and I should see both of them in there, but will they be separate, or how does a cloud work?
So you also have a Samsung, yes?
No, I have a blue phone.
A blue.
BLU.
Blue phone.
Bold like us is what it stands for, BLU. But it's an Android.
Do you know where it's sending it to the cloud? Is it
No,
How does
how
it
would I
send
know that? All right, let me say this. I get, sometimes when I'm charging my phone, I'll get a note from Google, backup incomplete. Leave your phone plugged in, unused, and connected to the internet for 2 hours. Well, it doesn't take 2 hours to charge my phone, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to leave it charging over, an hour and 15 minutes more than it needs. But it's putting it somewhere, and it's putting somewhere for Google, I would guess.
Sounds like the Google Cloud.
Then
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's in the cloud for Google. Androids, it's either like Jean's phone, that's a random Samsung specialty cloud that doesn't speak to anyone else. And then there are other Androids that are with Google.
Okay.
Google and iCloud make the most sense because they're the easiest to get to on other devices.
And how do you get to it?
So your photos, if your photos are going to Google Cloud, should be in Google Photos.
Yeah, I've got that, and I can even get Google Photos from my laptop when I sign into my Google unused email. I
Mhm.
mean, Gmail, I don't even use it, but I know if I sign into Gmail, then I can access my Google Photos.
Right. So
But-
you
and
should
so
be
that-
able to go to photos.google.com and see photos. So, and if you have
Okay.
albums, you can view it that way.
Okay,
like
but what
that.
about if I wanted, I mean, is it actually backing up everything like my hard drive backup is doing for my desktop?
Where is Let's see. Restore your backup information. So they're uploaded to Google servers and then encrypted in your Google account with password.
Oh, okay.
So, so your backups will automatically erase after 57 days, because it figures you don't need it after that.
Oh, okay. And that brings up another question, both about the cloud, but also about my hard drive. Okay, it's backing up the hard drive, the separate individual, I mean, independent hard drive that's plugged in automatically backs up every day. Now, if I go into my computer one day and I delete a whole bunch of stuff, will that delete it from the backups that's two, or will I be able to go back? If I delete it from my computer and 2 days later realize I deleted too much, could I go back to a week ago's backup and find it? Okay, okay,
Yeah, you just have to go back to the date that you remember seeing it.
okay.
So theoretically, if you get ransomware, that's what you would do, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yep.
oh, shoot, I got ransomware today. I need to go back 3 days and get my data back.
Okay,
Um,
that's good. So, but on the other hand, the fact that it's still there isn't helping the space on the drive. I mean, in other words, it's just keeping more and more stuff, and it's stuff that I don't really need, but it's still there.
right,
Okay.
which is why
You don't know you don't need it.
right. Like you probably don't need backups that are from 2020 at this point, right? Because you have so
Right.
much different data.
Right, okay, yeah. Except that I wasn't backing it up then, but yes, I get the point.
I was just saying that's when we started Tech Time, and I've been saying that for 2 years, 3 years.
I know, but it took me a good year and a half to listen to you. To follow up.
Oh, man.
Oh, I see how it is. But it looks like the backups are stored on Google One.
Okay.
Right. So if you Google One, you might have access to.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
would you refresh how to back up?
Sure. For your PC?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have an external hard drive? A little rectangle box typically that,
Looks like this.
yeah, like that. That plugs in with a USB. Some are small like Connie's, or like Chuck's and Jean's. Some are big and square and bulky like mine, because I have much bigger storage units.
Here's my other
I don't have a clue, Lynn.
one.
Maybe we better talk about this another time.
It would be
Oh,
something you probably bought separately, Karen.
Yeah, they typically cost around $50 for
Yeah.
1 terabyte. And then whenever you find one or get one, you plug it into your computer and we can walk you through how to turn on the automatic backups. So every
Okay.
time you have that plugged into your phone, into your computer, it will back up your data.
Okay.
Bob
So,
has,
so theoretically, if you have it plugged in every night when you go to bed, it will create a new backup for you.
Mhm.
So,
But you need
it-
an external drive to do
an
that.
external hard drive. You could do it on your machine, but if malware gets on your machine, it defeats the whole point of having
Right.
that.
Okay.
Bob and I both have WD, whatever that stands for.
Yeah, Western
Um,
Digital.
Oh, that sounds right, yeah.
Yeah.
Bob's backs up and it doesn't look like what his computer looks like. It's not exactly in code, but it doesn't look like if he opened his documents. It looks a little different. Mine looks when I open the external hard drive, it looks exactly like my laptop. As far as, having pictures and documents and downloads and all of this. And I open a document, it's, exactly like my screen. So I chose to get this kind rather than what he had, because if he needed to take his backup somewhere, if we were traveling and wanted to take the backup instead of taking the whole desktop, it would be hard, I thought, be hard to use.
Yeah, like for a case like that, say you're going to Chautauqua and you don't want to take your whole computer, but there's a computer up there that you can plug into and use the document, save it on your hard drive, and then come back.
Mm.
That is something that you could do theoretically. But then it's not going to bring all of that onto your computer when you come home. You'd have to move those documents back onto the computer. It's not going to be smart enough, like, oh, you added all these files.
Can you explain the difference between the two external hard drives? Like Bob's doesn't look just like,
Yeah.
his data doesn't look just like the desktop that he has.
There are some backup hard drives that encrypt your data, so it's much harder to get information to. But if there was an emergency and you had to restore from backup, it would bring all of it over so it looked identical to your device. But the back end, when you're just trying to look at the files, don't look like how you have because of the code that's installed on the hard drive, if that makes any sense. Where there's some like genes that are pretty much user friendly, so it's not as secure, but you can access them a little more easier if you're trying to recover something from trash or something. Like Nancy, I accidentally deleted something a couple days ago. Can I get it back? So, and then there are sometimes applications, I don't know if Bob has this with his, that it might look different if he like goes in with the file hard drive and goes through the files, but there's a app or something that comes with the hard drive or program that you could go in and view it that way as well.
That's possible with mine. Yeah.
So like the apples have both formats. There's a application called Time Machine, so it's easier to go back to certain looks and things and restore just like that. But you could also look in the hard drive and find it the way it's laid out.
That's what I was just kind of thinking. If I deleted something and I went to my external hard drive, could I just open that up on my computer and take that file I want and put it back in instead of
Restoring the whole
yes,
computer.
restoring the whole thing? Oh, cool.
Yes. If it's like Jean's hard drive, you could do that. If it's like Bob's hard drive, it might be a little bit harder.
Well, you know what? I've never even opened the external hard drive, so I maybe should try that.
That's your homework for this week, and you can show us next week
Yeah,
what
right.
it's like.
Okay, thanks.
And there's another option of, instead of backing up to a physical hard drive, you can restore to backups in the cloud. So there are companies that do cloud-based, so you don't have a physical hard drive. So if you lose your hard drive, it's still up in the cloud and you can download. And it's a little bit easier to do single files, like Nancy was asking about with that, because it's cloud-based. So there are pros and cons to both, but those are subscription plans where a hard drive is a one-time purchase, and so it's going to be cheaper in the long run.
Besides, other people might be able to get into the cloud.
They encrypt all of it, but if
I hear you. That's what the medical people said too.
yes, nothing is safe and secure. There's no perfect win solution with anything. Or you could be like me. There was a time that I was both doing cloud-based and a physical hard drive. I'm not doing that currently, but I did for a while because I'm a
Now,
nerd.
am I in danger by leaving my external hard drive plugged in all the time?
There is debate amongst IT people on that one. There are some people that are like, you should only have it plugged in when you are backing up your computer. But there usually malware does not get on hard drives, external hard drives. It's usually just on the actual device. If it's spyware or adware, that's definitely going to be the case. But malware is getting stronger and stronger, so there could be, you know, breaks in that. So if you want to be super secure, I would say only have it plugged in when you're backing up your device. Or you
Is that
can,
what you do?
I have my backup at the church, so every time I go to the church and plug in my docking station, which is a whole nother thing we've talked about, it backs it up automatically. So whenever I'm home or on weekends, it doesn't back up, say. So it's only plugged in those 8 hours, say I'm at the church.
Hmm.
Well, then I
And
have,
some people back it up when they go to bed at night, right? They plug it in when they go to bed, and yeah. Sorry, Chuck.
mine's plugged in all the time, and it
That's fine.
backs up every night.
This is mine, but
Mine's
No,
plugged
yeah.
in all the time.
And
That
and that's what it's set for, and then I don't have to remember to do it. If I'm away or something, I don't have to worry about it. It just does it. And
I think if for all of you, that's pretty much all you need. And that way you actually remember to do it. It's one
Yeah.
of those, you could have it set to go every day, but if you forget to plug it in, it's not going to actually do it. So I'm pretty much of the mindset, if I have it plugged into my docking station, so anytime I have my
Yeah,
computer
there you go.
charging, it goes, right?
I would also suggest, if you're thinking about going to get one, get at least 2 terabytes. I had 1 terabyte and filled it. So now the new one is 5. And I think I paid, I don't know, $60, $70, $80 for it. It wasn't that expensive. That's the Western Digital one. And I figured 5 terabytes is probably going to last me the rest of my lifetime. But it's set up to back up nightly. And if you don't do a lot of changes over the course of a day, it doesn't have a lot of things to back up, nor does it take a lot of space when it does that.
So
I
what?
have,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just
Because
gonna say,
going
I
back
have
up to
1
change-
terabyte and I only using 25% of it.
Okay,
So
Yeah,
it
Chuck,
depends on your use,
right.
you know, how much stuff you have on there.
do you delete old ones, Chuck, or it have every backup you've ever had?
It has every backup I ever had. I mean, when I filled the first one, it asked me if I wanted it to go back and start overwriting the oldest ones. I chose not to do that.
Mhm.
I don't know that I'll ever need what's on that backup.
Or
for
remember what's there.
years ago, but it's there in case I have to go get something.
Mhm.
And at the price of it, you know, it didn't kill me to go out and get a new drive.
Mhm.
So, and they're easy to set up, like Lynn says. It's, you know, the Western Digital one has its own little app. You plug it in and the window comes up on the screen and it says, what do you want me to do? And you just set a few settings on it and off it goes.
But
It's
that's
time,
for,
Karen, to get one.
that's for iPad though, right? You're Apple, right? Can't,
I am, but it's for both, either machine. It was
Yeah, but
PC
remember-
or Mac.
when, Lynn, remember when we tried to do mine, you and Chuck and I, or not Chuck, Stephen, and my computer, my Windows 10 wanted to get it and do it. And the external hard drive wanted to do it. And so they sort of clashed until fortunately Stephen figured out what was happening. So, you know, you got to be careful I don't know. You have to have Stephen help you with that. If it's
When you first set it up, we can do it together, so it's easier to do.
It wasn't.
But
hard, no.
once it's set up, it's pretty easy. And the way that backing up works, as Chuck kind of referred to, the first time it takes a long time because it
Yes.
has to back up everything.
Everything.
But then any future backups, it's only going to back up whatever you've changed in the last since your backup. So if you back up every night, you know, the only thing that it's going to be back up is maybe 1 or 2 Word documents.
Yeah.
It's not going to be backing up your emails and things like that because that's all cloud based. But any photos or things you add, that would be the only things that would be changing. So very short time span after that to back up.
I got mine at Best Buy in Wilmington. They had several to choose from. You don't pay tax down there. So if you're down there sometime for shopping for something else, stop in Best Buy and you can get it on Amazon too if you have, and you'll get free shipping because it's more than $25, $35. So, you know, however you want to do it.
And the purpose of backing up is just to protect everything that's on your laptop or computer.
Right.
Yep. If your computer one day wakes up and no longer is working and you can't access anything, my sophomore year of college during finals week, my computer just went black. And I couldn't do anything. I lost all my papers and things. I mean, I know you guys had to actually use typewriters and it was a lot more painful than this, but
Well, we use carbon paper.
Carbon
Yeah,
paper.
right.
Yeah. Mimeograph paper.
but and it's one of those, I didn't have a backup. That was before I really understood any of this, so I had to start from scratch. But if I had a backup, I could have taken my external hard drive and gone to a computer lab and finished my papers.
And even though you back up the information, you still have it.
On your computer.
Okay.
As long as your computer's working,
Right.
has been pointed out.
Right.
It's one of those, you hope never to need it, but you are thankful you have it when you do.
Right.
I've known a couple people who've had ransomware attacks and have had to pay the ransom because they lost all their data. If they had a backup, they would never have had to pay the ransom.
Right.
It's called insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why we have all kinds of insurance. You don't want to have to use it, but
It's like antivirus software, right? Like you hope never to have antiviruses or viruses on your computer, but you get antivirus software to protect yourself in case you do.
So Karen, you can see that it's a complicated decision, but Chuck mentioned Best Buy. I have found, I don't know if you've used Best Buy or not before, but I find that their technicians can talk in my language. They can talk in Lynn's as well, but they, without making me feel like I'm dumb or
Right.
that they're talking down to me. I like Best Buy. And they helped me make my decision.
When I was having trouble with my former laptop and I had taken it to the computer docs in Westchester, they were the same way. They talked my language because I told them I'm not techie, and they were great.
They might have recommendations for you too. I don't know if they sell them at their store or not, but there'd be another option to go.
Sometimes it's better to talk to somebody who's not selling anything.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And they didn't sell me my laptop, but they recommended a couple different models when they knew exactly what I used my laptop for, and they were very helpful.
Good. Glad.
Well, it's late, so I best say goodbye. Best
Yeah.
bye.
See you
See
tonight.
everybody tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, right. We'll
See you
see everybody tonight, except for
Except
Lynn.
Lynn. Thank you very much, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lynn.
Yep, thanks.
Any,
love
any
you.
other things for the good of the world order before I leave? Good. Everyone feel good? Okay. Have a good choir tonight.